201 million years ago, the smoke of the Triassic extinction finally cleared, revealing a transformed planet. The Earth had entered a golden age of stability, warmth, and endless rain, the ultimate greenhouse world. This endless buffet of vegetation allowed herbivores to grow to sizes never before seen or seen since. To hunt these walking mountains, predators also had to evolve into massive, terrifying apex killers. Welcome to the Jurassic Period, the undisputed age of the biological titans. As the Jurassic progressed, the supercontinent of Pangaea fully fractured, splitting the Earth into Laurasia in the north and Gondwana in the south. This massive influx of shallow oceans created a warm, incredibly humid global climate. There were no ice caps anywhere on Earth. In the lower canopy, heavily armored herbivores evolved to eat the tough, low-growing ferns and cycads, who protect its flanks from apex predators. Stegosaurus possessed a lethal weapon, the thagomizer. But the true icons of the Jurassic were the sauropods. Herds of Diplodocus roamed the vast floodplains. The Diplodocus tail was a marvel of biological engineering, capable of cracking like a supersonic bullwhip to deafen attackers. These titans were so heavy that their footprints created entire micro-ecosystems during the rainy season. To strip entire forests bare, Diplodocus had highly specialized, peg-like teeth that is on only for raking, not chewing. Since they could not chew, they swallowed massive stones, called gastroliths, to grind up the tough vegetation in their stomachs. These peaceful grazers were constantly tracked by the apex predator of the Jurassic, Allosaurus. Allosaurus possessed a jaw that could open incredibly wide, using its upper teeth like a serrated hatchet to cause massive bleeding. The landscape they fought over, the legendary Morrison Formation, was a paradise of winding rivers and towering forests. Towering above all the others was the Brachiosaurus. Built like a biological suspension bridge pointing to the sky, with its head 40 feet in the air, it had no competition for the most nutritious, untouched leaves of the high canopy, who pumped blood all the way up its 40-foot neck. Brachiosaurus possessed a heart the size of a small car, but not all sauropods were built like suspension bridges. Camarasaurus was the most common giant of the Morrison Formation. Camarasaurus possessed large, spoon-shaped teeth capable of chewing far much tougher vegetation than its slender relatives. These massive herbivores lived alongside the heavily armored Stegosaurus, sharing the same lush environment. The massive plates on the back of the Stegosaurus were not for defense. They were filled with blood vessels. By flushing blood into these plates, a Stegosaurus could quickly warm its body in the morning sun or intimidate a rival. And there was always a reason to be intimidated. Allosaurus, the lion of the Jurassic, was never far away. Fully grown Stegosaurus was a walking fortress, and a direct attack was incredibly dangerous, even for an apex predator. A single swing from the Stegosaurus's spiked tail could effortlessly shatter the leg bone of a theropod, condemning it to starvation. But predators were not the only threat. The Jurassic climate had distinct, brutal dry seasons. When the rain stopped, the giant sauropod herds were forced to migrate hundreds of miles in search of water and unstripped forests, and the dense underbrush left behind. Smaller, highly agile predators thrived by hunting lizards and early mammals. Ornithoplastus was perfectly adapted to snatch fleeing prey with its specialized, elongated hands. Any remaining water sources became deadly ambush zones. The Jurassic rivers hid massive prehistoric crocodiles. Unlike modern crocodiles, Goniophalis had incredibly thick, interlocking bony armor plates protecting its entire back. Thousands of miles away, in the shallow lagoon archipelagos of Europe, evolution was taking a completely different, miraculous path. Here, among the isolated islands, a small feathered dinosaur climbed the trees. Archaeopteryx was the missing link. A creature possessing both the deadly teeth of a theropod and the true flight feathers of a bird. It could not fly long distances, but it could glide gracefully from island to island, escaping ground predators forever. The dinosaurs had not only conquered the land, their descendants were now reaching for the heavens. The Jurassic world was truly theirs. How the dinosaurs ruled the land. The Jurassic oceans were expanding, creating deep, dark realms ruled by entirely different monsters. The undisputed king of these waters was the Pliosaurus, a marine reptile the size of a bus, built like a biological submarine. Its skull was over 8 feet long, armed with teeth the size of bananas, capable of biting a car in half. To sustain predators of this size, the ocean produced giants of its own. Leitzicthes was the largest fish to ever exist. Despite its size, this slow-moving filter feeder had no natural defenses, making it a target for terrifying marine crocodiles. Metrorhynchus had completely abandoned the land. Its legs had evolved into flippers, and it possessed a shark-like tail. Thousands of miles away, on the arid coastlines of prehistoric Africa, a different kind of extreme evolution was taking place. Here, herbivores needed extreme defenses to survive. Kentrosaurus was a smaller, but far deadlier cousin of the Stegosaurus. The massive shoulder spikes prevented any predator from attacking its flanks, turning it into an impenetrable walking fortress. Ruling the high canopy of this African ecosystem was the majestic Giraffatitan, closely related to the Brachiosaurus. With its specialized, high-crested skull, it stripped tons of vegetation every single day to fuel its massive biological engine. But even these giants had to fear the dark. Ceratosaurus was an apex predator, armed with 3 distinct horns. The nasal horn was likely a highly colored display structure, used to intimidate rivals or attract a mate. With a flexible body and massive tail, Ceratosaurus was an excellent swimmer, hunting giant fish and small dinosaurs alike. The Jurassic ecosystem was incredibly balanced. Nothing went to waste. Small scavengers cleaned the landscape. The sky was patrolled by pterosaurs with bizarre adaptations. Rhamphorhynchus ruled the coastal winds. Its jaws were filled with needle-like, forward-pointing teeth that interlocked perfectly, trapping slippery prey instantly. As the Jurassic Period wore on, the forces of continental drift continued to separate these incredible ecosystems forever. Massive volcanic rifts reminded the dinosaurs that the earth beneath their feet was still active and extremely volatile. Yet, despite the splitting continents and volcanic fires, the Jurassic giants marched on. Their empire was absolute. While Brachiosaurus ruled the Americas, the isolated continent of Asia produced a completely different kind of extreme giant. The neck of a Mamenchisaurus was over 40 feet long, the longest neck of any creature in the history of Earth. To support this impossible structure, its neck bones were hollow and filled with air sacs, just like modern birds. But even these giants were hunted. Foggy forests of Asia were stalked by Sinraptor, a deadly and agile apex predator. Unlike the heavy, hatchet-biting Allosaurus, Raptor had a lighter, more agile skull designed for rapid, slashing bites. To survive these agile killers, the herbivores of Asia developed their own unique, terrifying biological weapons. Any predator foolish enough to attack a Stegosaurus would face a dense wall of impenetrable, lethal spikes. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, much of Europe was submerged under shallow, warm seas, creating a vast network of tropical islands. On these islands lived Megalosaurus, a fierce predator and the very first dinosaur to ever be officially named by modern science. These massive predators patrolled the coastlines, scavenging dead marine reptiles that washed ashore. The shallow seas surrounding these islands were hunting grounds for long-necked marine reptiles like Cryptoclitus. Its neck was built for extreme flexibility, allowing it to dart its head into tight coral crevices to snatch hiding fish. Deeper in the open ocean, the dolphin-like ichthyosaurs evolved into the fastest marine reptiles on Earth. Meet Ophthalmosaurus. Ophthalmosaurus possessed the largest eyes relative to body size of any vertebrate in history, perfect for hunting squid in the pitch-black abyss. Back on land, the evolution of flight was taking bizarre turns. Some dinosaurs developed 4 wings instead of 2. Archaeopteryx used its unique 4-wing design not for powered flight, but to parachute safely from the highest conifer branches. But the true masters of the sky were evolving. Pterodactylus abandoned the long tails of its ancestors, becoming lighter and faster. But not flying, they walked on all fours, using their folded wings as front legs to stalk small prey on the beaches. As the Jurassic Period neared its end, the global forests remained lush, green, and completely devoid of flowers. The massive sauropods, the armored defenders, and the terrifying apex predators existed in a perfect, unbroken balance. The massive herds of sauropods did not just live in the environment, they physically shaped it. By continuously feeding on the highest branches, they kept the canopy open, allowing sunlight to reach the forest floor. This allowed smaller, fast-moving herbivores like Pliosaurus to thrive in the newly sunlit underbrush. Lacking horns or heavy armor, Pliosaurus relied entirely on its massive eyes and explosive speed to avoid predators. And speed was essential because the late Jurassic was stalked by Torvosaurus, a brutal muscle-bound killer even larger than Allosaurus. Torvosaurus possessed a heavily reinforced skull and teeth, designed not just to slice meat, but to crush through solid bone. When Torvosaurus arrived at a kill, even a pack of Allosaurus would be forced to retreat. High above this brutal battleground, the feathered dinosaurs continued to refine the absolute miracle of flight. Archaeopteryx was just the beginning. The evolutionary path toward modern birds was now completely unstoppable. However, the golden age of the Jurassic could not last forever. The continents continued their relentless, violent drift. As the tectonic plates shifted, global sea levels began to fluctuate, altering the climate entirely. The vast, shallow tropical seas that supported the giant marine reptiles slowly drained away into new ocean basins. On land, the climate became more extreme. The endless wet greenhouse began to experience severe, prolonged droughts. The massive sauropods, which required thousands of pounds of fresh vegetation every single day, faced mass starvation as the forests thinned. The iconic Stegosaurus, unable to adapt to the changing vegetation and the rise of new predators, quietly vanished into extinction. The Jurassic Period was ending. But the dinosaurs themselves were far from finished. They would adapt, evolve, and step into the Cretaceous period to become even more bizarre, heavily armored, and terrifying. The golden age of the giant sauropods had ended, but they had left a monumental legacy locked in the stone, a legacy that would never be forgotten.